Hello everyone, this is part 3 of What If Naruto Had a Hug That Changed Everything, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Be sure to like and subscribe, it gives me more motivation. Enjoy. Darkness. That's all that could be seen. That's all that could be felt. Darkness. It was as though it had swallowed him whole, plunging him into the eternity of nothingness. His body was numb. His senses were dulled. But all in all, he was there, he could feel it. It was far too difficult to tell whether time was actually progressing, or not. He didn't even know how he was able to possess anything at all. One thing he did know, was that he was no longer in the world from which he once hailed. Where am I? Did I? It was a difficult concept to grasp, and not just a little depressing, but that seemed to be the case. Naruto's body felt as though it had run away from him and he felt weightless. It's dark, so very dark. As time went by, Naruto started to feel his will returning, little by little. After a while he felt as though he at least had the strength to sit up. Some of the feeling in his body had returned, as he made the nearly exhausting effort to lift himself up into a sitting position. Upon doing so, Naruto opened his eyes and was greeted with the sight of something that could only be described as an obscenely humongous cage. Upon the center of the cage, was a small sealed tablet. What is this? After staring at the cage for a while, Naruto finally regained enough will and strength to rise to his feet completely. Taking a closer look at the giant cage. Upon doing this, however, an eerie red smoke began to emit through the bars of the chamber. The smoke loomed forward, and before he knew it, Naruto and the entire area around him was clouded by this ominous smoke. The combined feeling of the red smoke and the darkness itself caused Naruto's legs to weaken again, but he stood firm. Though he had to admit, he was a little nervous about his situation, given the fact that he had no idea where he was. After only a few seconds, Naruto heard a very, very, very deep and gruff-toned snicker coming from within the darkness of the cage. That was unsettling enough as it was. The fact that if gave Naruto the chill of his life was occur. Things grew silent after that unsettling snicker, save for the deep and steady breathing emitting from the sealed chamber. Naruto gulped hard, before he decided to speak. Who's there? The loud snicker returned, but with more depth and treble. Right afterwards, a very humid and powerful gust of smelly wind blew from the cage and assaulted Naruto's senses, causing him to lift his arm over his face to repel the stench. Before Naruto could comment on how putrid that was, like he would normally do, he saw two red and glowing SS form in front of him. These thin SS slowly widened in horizontal width, before they shot open, revealing themselves to be very large demonic eyes. Naruto flinched back as he saw this and was suddenly riddled with, not only more questions than answers, but a fear that he has never been subjected to in his entire life. What is this aura? This feeling? After his thoughts, Naruto was greeted with a much more nerve-rattling sight, a giant, fang-bared, Cheza smile underneath the demonic eyes. Naruto froze in his spot, trembling with fear. So, we meet at last. The voice was thundering and demonic, an abominable and wrecked sound of wrath and dominance. Hearing the nearly deafening voice, Naruto took one step back, before a set of very large claws sprung between the bars, barely missing Naruto's face by mere centimeters. The blonde ninja jumped back out of pure terror and stared wide-eyed at the enormous claws that would have most likely rendered him of his face. You're terrified. How torturous. To be bound to this tiny cage without the chance of devouring the of delectable prey and picking my teeth with his bones. Fear makes prey taste so much better. Naruto drank in everything he had just heard and grew even more afraid. However, through his indomitable fear, Naruto also drank in what he saw in front of him. A cage, a seal, and a giant beast. Things started to add up a little. Don't look so surprised, youngling. You should be honored to finally meet what has been kept sealed within you for the entirety of what could loosely be called your life. Naruto's expression changed immediately to that of realization, not only of the fact that he was definitely alive, but of what was smack dab in front of him. Inside me. So yes, it is I, Kyubi no Kitsune, king of the Biju. To think, I have been reduced to enduring the monotonous task of keeping you alive to ensure my own survival. You, a puny human youngling, who is the vessel to which I have been granted eternal suffering. Your very sight irritates me. Naruto's nerve suddenly hardened without his consent and he scoffed. Oh really, and just what is a lowly demon fox gonna do if he's trapped in a cage? If you ask me, it's pretty pathetic. Kyubi's smile widened and his eyes squinted with mouse intent, as he growled viciously. Frankly, I don't see the point of making empty threats if you can do nothing to back em up, fox. Kyubi snarled a demonic chuckle at the boy. You have always had quite the nerve, haven't you, Kit? Always talking up and puffing up with something to prove. I've watching you for quite some time. I know why you are always fighting. I know why you hold on so dearly to your pathetic dreams. I know why every living soul in your village hates you, detests you, repels you. Naruto's eyes darkened behind his hair. Yeah, so do I. It because of you. The blonde genin glared hatefully at the demon fox before him, causing the vile creature to smile deviously at him, as though he already knew where he was going with this. It's because of you. It all because of you. You attacked our village and destroyed so many lives. You were the cause of every bad thing that ever happened in my life. People, they blamed me for crimes that you committed. They treated me so horribly. It's because of you that your would-be mate despises you. Naruto's eyes shot wide open. What? Oh, thought I didn't know, huh? Well, I've got news for you, Kit. I know everything. Your dreams, your nightmares, your thoughts, your feelings, your sickening fantasies. Kyubi shuddered at his last words. Honestly, you must have really liked this, Sakura B, haven't you? Naruto's body twitched with silent rage. What? Did I strike a nerve, Kit? Don't you ever talk about Sakura like that. A long, slime-written tongue seeped through the fox's teeth, and licked across them with sadistic pleasure. You're still hopelessly in love with her, Kit. How laughable. She, who has scorned you to the bone. She, who would rather see you then, how do you say? Go out with you. Shut up. She, who would never accept what you are. I said shut up. She, who only cares for this Sasuke prick, as you so humbly see him as, and leaves you rotting on a string. Shut up. Kyubi's smile disappeared. It doesn't matter what happened, then. The important thing is that you fork over your strength, Fox. Kyubi's eyes dimmed. What? Are you trying to give orders to Kyubi? You have a lot more nerve than I can remember. You arrogant little chew toy. Naruto scoffed again. Yeah, keep tacking like you don't give a damn. But I, for one, don't think I wanna fathom what would happen to you if I went splat. Kyubi growled irritatantly. That's what I thought. Now be a good fox and pay what you owe. Give me some of your chakra, so we can get out of this mess. You are very irritating, Kit. Although I can think of nothing better and more relaxing than crunching through your very bones and devouring your marrow, I must admit that your will is one to be admired. And through your perilous trials, you have managed to stay alive, which is something that I am loathingly grateful for. After all, if so as payment, I shall loan you my chakra. At Kyubi's words, Naruto's vision became blurred and soon, the darkness lifted, revealing that he was still falling in the same seemingly bottomless crevasse as before. A new feeling of power and certain type of intoxication madness engulfed the boy, a feeling that he has felt on a few occasions, here and there. There was no time to think. No time to grasp how long he had to live. He had to act now. Where? That's right. Gotta act fast, Naruto exclaimed. Unfortunately, Naruto had failed to notice just how close his body had came to the rocks during his descent. Before the blonde genin could bite down upon the thumb that he had lifted to his mouth, his stomach region was brutally torn and gashed by a slick and pointed wall rock. The pain that instantly shot through his body was beyond what words could possibly describe. But it happened, it really did. Naruto was just fatally wounded. With the force of his collision and the speed at which he was falling, Naruto's body spun rapidly, before his descent reformed into a straight free fall, spilling his blood out of him and onto the air itself. The blonde's eyes dimmed lifelessly, as everything slowly, but surely grew silent. Once again, He could hear his heart beat, slowing, dissipating. However, something inside of him snapped him back to life. A feeling that had to be one of Naruto's most powerful tools. The will to survive. Although he still felt his life drain from his body, Naruto's naturally unbreakable will kept him from giving in to death at the moment. He forced his, still, plummeting body to turn so that he stared into the abyss again, pushing both of his hands into the fatal gash in his stomach, gushing an unruly amount of blood all over them. With his blood-soaked hands, choking from the pain he had put upon himself, Naruto quickly formed completely accurate hand signs, despite his blurry vision. Summoning jutsu, he shouted with the last ounce of vigor that he possessed, before launching his arm in front of himself. A red flash of power, resembling the blood-red color of Naruto's inner liquids, formed in a spherical manner, before a cloud of smoke quickly followed suit. In almost an instant, Naruto felt himself land on a hard surface and immediately felt different. He felt whole again. As vivid and lively as before. Realizing that he had no longer felt a certain agonizing pain, Naruto rose to a sitting position and looked down only to see that the fatal wound that would have ended his life had been completely healed. Spotless, with nothing to show for the wound itself, but the gaping tear in his clothing. 4 portions of the walls of the enormous crevice were suddenly crushed, as 4 obscenely large limbs crashed onto them to immediately halt the descent. As time went on, Naruto came to realize that he was sitting on the head of something that he didn't really expect to be sitting on. He knew that he summoned something, but he could place his finger on it, but it was definitely different from any of the pathetic summonings he had ever, summoned before. But, regardless of what the hell it was, Naruto slowly found himself swelling with unbelievable joy, as his face slowly cracked a grin and he started laughing like a coke-happy idiot. Hey, hey, I did it, yes. It's true, the fool finally mastered the summoning jutsu. What is this? How can this be possible? The thundering voice of the creature that was summoned roared with confusion. Back at the foot of the crevasse, stood a stunned and horribly trembling Jiraiya. Something that he had felt only a couple of seconds ago, got him really edgy, and even spooked. He didn't expect to be subjected to this feeling, this fear. It was foul and unfitting. Whatever Naruto summoned. It wasn't a frog. This aura. What in the world? Meanwhile, back at the Haruno home, Sakura, Ino and Mrs. Haruno were in the living room, sitting upon their knees. Mrs. Haruno was tentatively cleaning both her daughter's dirtied faces with a wet washcloth. Both young Genin plastered looks of guilt as well as fear of what punishment would most likely befall them. I thought I told you, young ones, no rough housing. It only leads to bruises, heartache and grade A concussions, she said rather softly for someone who had just come home from shopping only to see her house completely destroyed. Although her voice was soft and motherly, Ino and Sakura were still filled with doubt about what they've done and what they could be faced with. Yet another casualty on their part, for carrying actions out of impulse. Neither of them could even look Mrs. Haruno in the eyes, as she cleaned the last remnants of filth from their faces. With part of her job complete, Mrs. Haruno rose to her feet and placed her hands upon her hips. Now, girls, I've warned you not to rough house, especially in the actual house. But I guess I should be grateful that you didn't wreck the other floors of the house. I'm just glad that neither of you seriously hurt each other, she said, maintaining the softness of her voice, but sighing with disappointment. Ino and Sakura remained where they were as they bowed respectfully and apologetically. Yes, mother, they both said in unison. He. Confused. Well, Ino has been vastly and often considered a second daughter to Mrs. Haruno, even when she wasn't friends with Sakura for a while. Mrs. Haruno lifted her hands from her hips and crossed her arms. Now, she began with a somewhat hardened voice, would one of you mind telling me the reason behind all of this madness? Ino and Sakura both looked up at the adult with worried expressions, before shooting a nervous glance to each other, then back at Mrs. Haruno. Figuring that just sitting there would only cause problems, Sakura started first. Okay, this was, sort of ridiculous, but earlier today, Naruto, Mrs. Haruno cut in, silencing her daughter's words, don't tell me that you two were fighting over that troublemaker. Ino decided to take a stand, in a matter of speaking, no. We would never fight over a boy, she said. Mrs. Haruno's face became blank and knowing, as she instantly knew that what she had just heard was a load of crap. Oh, wouldn't fight over a boy, huh? She said, raising an eyebrow. Ino's face fell into doubt, as she remembered how much her and Sakura drifted apart because of Sasuke. Just as I thought. So, why were you fighting over Naruto? Mrs. Haruno asked, while inwardly grimacing at the name. Well, Ino and Sakura began, before their mother cut him off. You know what? I don't want to know. The only question at the moment is how you're gonna make up for destroying my house. Mrs. Haruno's eyes blackened, as she lowered her crossed arms from her chest. Say, now. I've an idea. The very second those words came from Mrs. Haruno's mouth, her hands relinquished the leather belt from around her jeans. At the very sight of this, both Ino and Sakura nearly screamed at the top of their lungs, but merely muffed it down to pathetic squeals of fear. I think that you two should get cracking before the belt does, young one, Mrs. Haruno threatened with the darkened demon glare never leaving her face. Ino and Sakura scrambled off of the floor, scurrying away, not only to avoid their mother's impending wrath, but to find the nearest cleaning utensil and use it as if the very life depended on it, which in any other case, it did. Back at the incredibly deep crevasse, happy Naruto was kicking his feet together while sitting upon the head of the creature he had summoned. Yeah, eat your heart out, pervy sage, Naruto hollered. The summoned creature's eyes rapidly rolled from left to right, as it tried frantically and angrily to grasp where the hell it was. What is the meaning of this? How did I get out here? The gargantuan creature howled, before hearing the strangely irritating voice that belonged to some little schmutz on his head. The voice sounded surprisingly familiar, and over time, so did the creature's surroundings. Wait, this is Keat, it shouted with rage. Naruto immediately stopped his cheerleading when a freezing cold chill ran down his spine. That voice, Naruto said quietly. Kit, what have you done? The monster demanded. After hearing the nickname that has just recently been given to him, due to recent altercation with a certain demon, everything suddenly came to Naruto. But no matter how much he tried to possess that possibility, and replay it in his head, over and over, it still didn't make sense. But it was true. No matter how hard it was to believe, it was true. The creature underneath the blonde genin was. You're asking me. I don't even know how you got out of your cage. What are you doing out here? Naruto yelled, while a latent feeling of worry and fear grew within him. The monster butted his head forward, flipping Naruto over to land directly upon its furry snout. The beast glared wildly at the frightened Naruto, who unwittingly returned its gaze. Stop answering my questions with questions, the summoned monster howled again. It doesn't matter how you summoned me here and I don't care. GGGRAAAAAAAAARRGH. Naruto's entire body trembled horribly, because of the thundering echo of the beast. QB, why are you so angry? Even though I didn't intend it, you've been set free. Shouldn't you be grateful? Naruto asked with fear. QB's eyes glowed with demonic fury. NNNNOOOOOOOOOO. I'm pissed off. I completely lost his trail, he hollered, causing the entire crevasse to shake and nearly crumble at the seams. Whose trail? What are you? Before Naruto could finish his question, however, the enraged demon Kitsune forcefully pungered his 9 tails into scattered parts of the crevasse walls, while digging his 4 limbs deeper into them, as well. With one loud and earth-shaking roar of fury, QB propelled himself from his previous position, using all of his tails and his powerful limbs, ravaging the crevasse walls without effort. As if he was suddenly locked in a G-chamber, Naruto's body nearly made a permanent indent of itself into QB's snout. Sensing the massive and horrid chakra closing into his position, and fast, Jiraiya's eyes widened greatly, before he dashed off with his incredible speed, and not a moment too soon. In a dazzling display of prowess, QB burst out of the crevasse, high into the air, blotting out the sun with his massiveness. Plummeting to the ground without even batting an eye, the massive demon fox landed on the ground with an earth-crumbling thud, landing on all 4s. Breathing heavily, while expelling clouds of burning hot, steamy breath, QB began to frantically sniff his surrounding and growling. NYRRRAAAAAAAAAAGH. I completely lost his trail, the demon raged on, before lifting his head skyward. OOOORROCHIIIIII. X. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.